We started our Adelaide Reunion on the 7th of July. We got started a little bit late, so it was dark by the time we got to Dubbo. The next day we drove on to Cobar, a small mining town of about 4,000. And when you come into the town, you're met by this huge mining display. The mine produces gold and silver, and they have an outlook so you can look down into the open pit. But there's not actually any mining done in the pit itself. It's done over 1.5 kilometers below ground, starting where this truck is entering into the underground. Cobar is considered the eastern edge of the outback. As you can see, the scenery becomes very dry as you drive onto Broken Hill. In fact, water for Broken Hill must be pumped 240 k's from the Murray River. Broken Hill is a mix of mining and artists. The city has more than a dozen art galleries. Broken Hill also has the largest solar power plant in the southern hemisphere. These are some beautiful 3D outdoor paintings that were done on the train station. We visited an outlook built on mining waste overlooking Broken Hill. Broken Hill has one of the largest silver, lead, and zinc deposits in the world. But extracting these metals comes at a cost. Over 800 men have died in the mines since it began operations in 1883. So they built a monument to these people, and their names are all on the wall, this monument. Thankfully, safety has improved, and no one has died in the last 7 years. "14 kilometers outside Broken Hill is the Living Desert Reserve. Part of this reserve is the Broken Hill Sculptures, a set of 12 sculptures completed in 1993 by artists from around the world. Just before sunset is a magical time for viewing these sculptures, especially this very well-known icon. The next day we left Broken Hill for Adelaide. Meanwhile, Miranda, Craig, Cam, and Jacqueline are coming east to meet us, and their first stop is Kalgoorlie.
Hi Jacqueline, you gonna wave? I'm videoing. Where are we?
Super pit.
It's the super pit. Where are we then? What about you, Cam? You know where we are?
Kalgoorlie.
From Kalgoorlie, they had a long drive to Madura. From Madura, they had another long drive to Ceduna, but they broke up the drive with a stop in Eucla, where they explored the old telegraph station, which is slowly being buried in sand. They also saw the historic Euclid Jetty.
Miranda, your head's right in the shade, in the shadow. Yep. Anything for a cool photo, hey mate? I'm recording this. Trying to get you set up. Come on.
Have you recorded?
Hey, I'm still recording, yeah.
Wait.
Jacqueline's there, just saying cheese, just waiting.
Wait.
Alright.
Then onto the Nullarbor Plains. They stopped at the lookouts to appreciate the awesome Australian Bight, where they were lucky enough to spot a couple of whales. On the way to Port Augusta, just off the highway, there's a very large rock similar to Wave Rock in WA, and I think the name of it is the Pildapa Rock. Then from Port Augusta on to Adelaide. I think this was probably Port Augusta here, and some of the silos they saw before reaching Adelaide a couple of hours before we arrived. Miranda did her usual good job of getting us organized and coming up with an interesting itinerary. And today our first stop was Victor Harbor and a tram ride out to Granite Island. When we got back from the tram ride, there was a carnival going on.
It's laughing. What? That sticky thing. That's it.
Stuffy hand? Sure. Are they? Are you sure that's what you want? What color would you like? Green. There we go. Thank you. That's all right. Have a nice day. Thank you.
I got the green thing. You did. Good on ya. Daddy, slapping hand.
A slapping hand. Now we better watch it.
That's got a 6, 11, and a 3, 14, and a 2, 16. Anywhere along the bottom, darling.
Oh, what do you want, Cam?
And the tiger at the end.
What colour?
Orange.
What, orange one? There we go. Thank you.
The next day we hit the Barossa Valley wineries. The first stop was Jacobs Creek Winery. We sampled some of the wines, except for Craig. He was the designated driver, so he missed out. And then we bought some to top up our supply for the holidays. After that, we had lunch at a craft brewery. Then we stopped at an interesting winery called the D'Ardenberg Winery in McLarenville, which just happened to have a Salvador Dali exhibition on when we were there. The cubic building that you can see in the background housed some virtual reality displays on winemaking, as well as an alternate reality museum. Sounds interesting, but it was not open when we were there. The last stop of the day was at the Barossa stone sculptures at Menger Hill. And these were done by artists from around the world. The next day we decided to explore the Adelaide CBD.
That's yummy. Mm.
Did you get a brain freeze?
Done. Gosh.
Very good.
Put your name on it.
Huh?
Why don't you put your name on it?
In blue.
Uh-huh.
Could you write my name? Can you write my name, Mama?
This camera, this phone takes a really
Very
nice
nice
picture.
camera.
Have you put any filters on these?
Take a picture of this, Grandpa. Look what he's done. He's inside the lines.
Yes,
And
very nice.
look at his writing now.
Very nice.
Oh, boy, oh.
So you can walk it through.
Oh, thank you. I don't remember all these things. Out there.
Yeah.
And then the train strike. We got as far as Croydon. We were on Croydon. We got as far as Ashford. So we got off the train after about an hour. We went round. Oh, you know how to do the artwork. He said, no artwork.
How did I get the brass station?
If they can, we got it back. So.
He's coming around. He'll be
Is it
on
the
you
white
soon,
one?
Cam.
Yeah, the white one.
Be ready.
The parcel.
But they are good.
What did you end up getting?
The salmon.
Salmon?
I got here, Grandpa. Grandpa.
Got it, Cammy?
I'm on the playground. Playground.
Very nice.
Oh, I was doing that.
I think I
It
got
was
it.
all right.
Later in the day, we made a trip up to Mount Lofty to get a good view of the city of Adelaide, only to find that it was socked in by fog. The next day, Craig made the difficult run up to the top of Mount Lofty and back, and was rewarded with a beautiful view of the city of Adelaide, as well as some beautiful waterfalls and other scenery along the way. We'll finish the video with some scenes that we saw on our trips on the way back home. Our reunion is over. It was so nice seeing Miranda, Craig, Cam, and Jacqueline again, as well as all the interesting things we did and saw along the way. Now, we look forward to our next reunion at Christmas. We'll see you then.